Let's kick things off with a little story that, trust me, perfectly explains the unbelievable power of small, consistent actions.
All right, so picture this. There's this guy, Mike, and one day he decides to go for a walk out in the woods, just to get some fresh air.
So he's walking along and boom, he comes across this gigantic boulder just completely blocking the path. And right next to it, there's a man with a hammer just chipping away. Mike kind of shrugs, finds a way around it, and doesn't really think twice about it.
Okay, fast forward a week. Mike's back in the same woods, and you're not going to believe it, the same man is still there, hitting the exact same rock. Now Mike's curious. He walks over and asks the guy what he's doing. The man says he's been at it for nearly a month, trying to split the rock because it's just way too heavy to move in one piece. So Mike, he leans in, squints, and looks at the rock and sees, well, nothing. Not a single scratch, not one visible crack. And this thought just immediately pops into his head. He sees zero progress, so he figures all that effort is a complete waste of time.
Let's jump ahead another whole month. Mike's on his walk, sees the rock is still there, and thinks, okay, that guy must have finally given up. But nope. He sees the man walking back towards it, hammer in hand. Mike actually decides to step in, to save the guy from himself, and he says, hey, maybe you should just call it a day. The man just kind of laughs, swings his hammer, and hits the rock one more time. And just as Mike is about to walk off, totally frustrated for the guy, he hears it. This loud, unmistakable cracking sound. He whips around and sees this huge fracture spreading across the rock. And then it just splits, clean in two. Mike is just standing there, completely speechless. So what was the secret? I mean, did that one last swing have some kind of magic in it? Of course not. And this is where our little story turns into a really powerful lesson about how success actually works. This whole thing just blows up the myth of overnight success, right? When Mike asks the man how he did it, his answer is everything. The man says, I didn't do anything different. The progress was slow, and yeah, it was invisible for months. But that doesn't mean it wasn't happening. And this gets to a really cool idea called stored effort. Every single one of those thousands of hammer blows that looked like they did nothing, they weren't wasted. Each one was adding a little bit of stress, a tiny bit of energy, creating these micro fractures inside the rock until it just couldn't take it anymore. It's exactly why we quit things too early. You hit the gym for 2 days, you look in the mirror, you don't see a six-pack, and you think, well, this isn't working. You're totally ignoring all that stored effort. This really highlights two completely different mindsets, doesn't it? We tend to think that to get big results, we need some massive, heroic action, like an 8-hour workout session or cleaning the entire house all day long. But that's exhausting and it's not sustainable. The real magic is in the small, daily stuff. The big action feels productive at the moment, but it's the daily consistency that actually gets you where you want to go. So let's talk about how this slow path, this positive compound effect, can build some truly incredible results in our own lives. The tricky part is, in the moment, these small actions feel, well, kind of insignificant. Putting $30 into a savings account today doesn't make you rich. Hitting the gym 3 times this week doesn't give you a new body. And learning 3 words in French doesn't mean you're ready for Paris. The reward isn't immediate, so it's super easy for our brains to just dismiss the effort. But what happens if we just stay consistent? Let's zoom out 5 years. All of a sudden, that $30 has grown into thousands. You're actually in great shape. And hey, you can hold a conversation in French. The results look like they happened overnight, but they were forged, one tiny action at a time. And this is the absolute core of it. We all tend to overestimate the importance of one big defining moment, and we massively underestimate the value of just making small improvements day in and day out. Real success isn't born from one giant leap. It's built from thousands and thousands of tiny steps. But, and this is a big but, we have to be honest here. This powerful principle is a double-edged sword. There is a dark side to compounding, and it's really important that we understand how it can work against us. I mean, just think about the small choices we make every single day. What's the real difference between grabbing a burger for lunch or having a salad? Or between zoning out in front of the TV versus reading just 5 pages of a book? In that single moment, the impact feels like nothing. And that's the trap. Because the immediate consequence is basically zero. It's so easy to rationalize a bad decision. You eat a greasy meal today, and the scale looks exactly the same tomorrow morning. So we tell ourselves, it's no big deal, just this once. But here's the reality check. You stack up those no big deal choices over 2 years or 5 years or 10, and the difference isn't small anymore. It is everything. That's when the hidden cost of all those tiny missteps suddenly becomes painfully clear, compounding into some really toxic results. So this all leads us to the final and maybe the most important idea of all. It's not really about where you are, but where you're headed. This is the key takeaway for every single one of us. Your current status, how much money you have, what kind of shape you're in, that's just a snapshot in time. What truly matters is your trajectory. Are the little things you do every day moving you closer to where you want to be or further away? Think about it like this. A millionaire who spends more than they make might look successful, but they're on a bad path. Someone with six-pack abs who starts eating junk food every day is on a trajectory to lose it. We all have setbacks. That's just life. But over the long haul, it's the quality of our daily choices that ultimately defines the quality of our lives. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Your small steps, repeated every single day, are what determine your final destination. The results might be totally invisible right now, but they are adding up with every choice you make. So the most important question isn't where you are today, but simply, which direction are you heading?